Hi there, we're Team Nine-0-Byte, and welcome to our presentation about our app Short Circuit, an app to make the life of electric vehicle owners better. My name is Callum Hemming. I live in Brighton after finishing university to study film. I got into code because making a film in a pandemic is hard. So I created a film that played over different websites. I found learning to make these websites more enjoyable than the story I was actually creating. And thanks to the algorithm gods, I was served an advert for the School of Code. I've loved every second and every challenge of this bootcamp, and I'm looking forward to starting an exciting career in tech.
Hi, I'm P. Since graduating from university majoring in electronic engineering a decade ago, I hadn't touched a line of code, but I love problem solving, and most of all, I want to have a career in this challenging, exciting, and fast evolving industry.
Hi, my name is Emmanuel Abiodun, a recent bootcamper graduate from the School of Code Academy. I come from a creative background where I was exposed to creativity, which inspired my creativity. Apart from coding, other creative things I do are art, UI/UX design, and cooking.
Hello, my name is Alexander Zapelat. I have a background in customer service and technical support. I've joined the School of Code bootcamp in order to become a full stack developer, and now I enjoy solving problems with code.
I'm Laura Pitter. I've had an interest in coding since I was a child, but only had the chance to really start diving into it in the last few years. And now I'm using my love of problem solving to creatively code apps.
Hello, my name is Samira. I'm from Singapore, but I have lived and worked in America and now here in the UK. My background is in travel and I have over 20 years of work experience. I'm a people person and love traveling.
In 2030, government will ban the sale of petrol and diesel cars. The sale of the hybrid cars will be outlawed in 2035. So they will all be replaced by electric vehicles. As a team, we agreed to create an app that will help electric vehicle drivers to find nearest charging points. However, none of us owned an electric car. So we realized that in order to build a useful app, we had to carry out an extensive research about EVs and charging points. For example, how electric vehicles are charged, what sort of payments do charging points accept? Are there any apps that already provide this service? If so, how can we be different than them?
I'm going to give a demonstration as one of our user personas, Sky. Sky is a young tech developer who's going on a trip to Edinburgh. So first, Sky loads up the app. She sees there's lots of pins near her. Each one of these is a charging station. So we can click on it and we can see all the information about that charging station as well as a small comment section. We can filter these selections by using the filter. I could say I just want these charge connecting types and I only want to see what's currently available. Nice. So I know on my trip to Edinburgh, my first stop is Crewe. So I can go to Crewe like that. And with the current filter, nothing is available. So I'm gonna loosen up the filter slightly. And we can see all of the pins available in Crewe. Now I'm looking at this pin right here. Yep, looks free. That's really good. So I'm going to use that when I go on my trip to Edinburgh. Okay, so I'm going to search for Edinburgh. Okay, so I'm in Edinburgh and I'm going to have a little look around, see if there's any charging points where I could charge my car. So I'm going to click here. Nice. That looks nice and good. I'm going to click on this one. This one. Oh, whoa, wait. Oh no, this person does not look happy. Avoid, this charge only has 2 connectors at work, 2 out of 5. Oh dear. So I know that from the comment section that I'm not going to go to this charging point. How about this one? No, no complaints there. Okay, so I know where I'm going to charge my car. However, I only want to know where the cheap ones are. So I'm going to filter for free, which gets rid of all the paged charging points. Wonderful. But I noticed that I can log in to save my filters. So if I hit login to save your filters, I can continue with Google. I can sign into my Gmail account. I can see in my save filters, price free, which I can load directly into here. Now I can only see the free markers. Additionally, if I'm out driving with this app, this website is a progressive web app, which means I can use the app natively on my phone.
Now we'd like to explain the journey that we took to create this app in the 4 weeks that we had. We were a brand new team, so we took some time to get to know each other, and then we wanted to discuss how we could best work together. So we started with our team manifesto, where we agreed on our values and explained our strengths and weaknesses to each other. We decided to vote on ideas using the 1, 2, 3 method, just to make sure that nothing ever dragged to a halt. We also wanted to have a scrum master to lead meetings and be our spokesperson, with a conductor as their second in command to help with the organization side of things. We rotated both these positions each week to make sure everyone got a chance to be in a leadership role. We had a stand-up meeting every morning and 3 to 4 sprints throughout the day, for which we split into 2 groups. We organized retros between each of the sprints to check in on each other's progress, give code presentations, identify any blockers, and see if anyone needed any assistance between the teams. At the end of the day, we had a final retro to reflect on how things were going and just to perform any final code merges we needed to do. For the project management side of things, we wanted to make sure that the project was managed well during our whole time. So we employed multiple tools to help with this. We used a Kanban board via Trello so we could assign tickets each day, and that represented features we needed to work on. We assigned each of these tickets story points to indicate how complicated they might be and how long we thought that they would take to complete. We also used a Moscow board to keep track of our features that we needed in the future, as well as a daily diary for the same purpose. These features could include what we were currently working on, what we needed to work on in the future, what we wanted to work on that might not fit the scope of the 4 weeks. Features moved between these columns frequently as we developed and recognized that some features were a bit further out of reach than we first thought, whilst others had become easier to implement as we became more confident and experienced and the project grew. We also established very early on that a robust version control system was very important, and we wanted to try and utilize a CI/CD approach. So we kept main for our live app only, and otherwise we used a development branch. From the dev branch, we branched off further into features and components. We would only merge features and components into dev. We would test dev thoroughly, make sure that everything was all working nicely together, and then merge dev into main when we were happy with it. When it did come to merging, we chose to use code presentations with each other to make sure that the whole group understood the code, and that we could all chip in whilst merging if there were any conflicts, and make sure we were all confident that we were ready to merge.
As a team, we discussed on possible ideas for apps we could create to solve a specific problem. We all brought forward ideas, and we made a list of ideas we had. And using the Disney ideation, that is the dreamer, realist, and critic, we're able to break them down into a select few ideas. Based on our selection, we made a questionnaire for our fellow boot campers and friends on apps they would like to see created. Based on their selection, we're able to settle on one idea, which is making an app to find petrol stations where you could get fuel for less. We researched data and API for our selected projects, but as a result of us being students, we weren't able to afford the best ones we found for our project. With this roadblock, we decided to change our project to electric vehicles to find charging stations around you. We found 2 APIs, which were NCR and OCM, to help with this project. Wireframing. We discussed design ideas for our app, that is, app names and logos. With this in mind, we made a low fidelity and high fidelity design for our app. With our hi-fi design, we're able to see how the final outcome would look and the possible interactions with the app. Later on during the process of developing our app, we had an interview with an electric vehicle user, a fellow boot camper, to get information about using an electric vehicle, and that is the problems they face, what works and what doesn't work for them. With this information, we made our app better.
These are the tech stack and project management tools we use in our project. For our front end, we decided on components-based architecture with Next.js framework. Next.js optimizes React and has a higher ceiling of features. Although we've yet to take full advantage of some of its feature, the solid infrastructure is already in place for our future iterations to effortlessly make new pages, enable server-side rendering, etc. For our map component, we opted for leaflet.js with React Leaflet Library for its simplicity and out-of-the-box markers and pop-ups. For its high contrast and pleasing visuals, Mapbox is our choice for the map tile layers. We chose Ant Design as our UI library for its ease of use and natural yet elegant user interfaces. We use Auth0 for authentication, simply because we're all used to it through our course, and it provides what we needed for our app. As you may have seen during the product demo, we have made our app a downloadable and installable progressive web app by utilizing Next PWA package. For our mockups, we use XColorDraw and Figma for lo-fi and hi-fi wireframings. And Draw.io flowcharts we'll also use to plan out the high-level overview of components, states, and database table relationships. On the backend, Node.js with Express serve our API endpoints, whilst the database was set up using Heroku Postgres. Regarding testing, we use Cypress on the front end and Just with Supertest to test our endpoints on the backend. We've also included appropriate implementations such as alt tags and ARIA labels for screen readers. Using the Lighthouse audit tool, we have achieved the score of 100 on accessibility. Throughout our project, we religiously use Git and GitHub for version control, and whilst the backend and database are deployed on Heroku, our frontend is on both Heroku and Vercel for performance comparison.
Throughout the project, we kept a team diary of reflections for each day and outlined some key blockers and how we overcame them. First, we experienced huge latency from the backend that averaged around 9 seconds each search, which meant users almost constantly were waiting for the results to load, which made our user experience untenable. We analyzed our code and found two major issues. One, we were calling multiple APIs from the backend that happened one after the other, meaning wait times were adding up together. Once we made sure everything happened asynchronously, the latency was cut down to just 400 milliseconds. Additionally, blockers included issues with implementing third-party services such as Auth0 for authorization. We noted that configuring our code for Auth0 was significantly more complicated than if we implemented Auth0 at the beginning of the project. Finally, there were some blockers we couldn't get over easily, such as the accuracy of geolocation. This comes from the browser, so when it's inaccurate, it's out the scope of our project to fix it. We had to accept this technical debt with the knowledge that geolocation on mobile is more accurate, so that in the future, if we port to native, this problem will be less significant. These blockers led to reflections that changed our workflow and team culture, and we adjusted to avoid them in the future. Some adjustments we made included writing better documentation for the whole team to access. We transferred from Jira to Trello as we felt Trello was more streamlined for our purposes, and we were getting distracted by Jira's large feature set. We discovered and emphasized the value of presenting our code to the other team in our group. When we got stuck, as we realized the fastest way to see a bug yourself is as soon as someone else is viewing it. And also, we increased the amount of breaks we were taking, as we found stepping away from our code regularly was vital to writing good, clean, and easy to read code.
We were given just 4 weeks to complete this project. However, if we were given more time and resources, we are confident that we could further upscale our app, add more functionality, and improve performance. If we are given an additional week, we would like to add a plan route for the user to get to an available charge point. The app will show us when the charge points become available and the time it takes to charge. Currently, our app is hosted on Heroku using browser interface. With an additional 2 weeks, we can port this app to run natively on mobile devices for a more superior user experience. We can incorporate full unit testing on our source code, making sure our app functions as expected. In a month, with financial backing, we like to increase database capacity by migrating to an enterprise cloud services like AWS or Microsoft Azure, and also be able to obtain more accurate and up-to-date API. During our ideation process, we discussed the many possibilities that our app can provide. We strongly feel that the possibilities are endless. That is our presentation for today. On behalf of my team members, I would like to thank you for your time and your kind attention. We hope you have enjoyed our presentation.